The women's ice hockey team is in the playoffs against Clarkson. How did the team make out up in Potsdam?
And the men's hockey team faced Yale for the second time this year. Did they bring home a fourth Cleary Cup for Quinnipiac?
And as always, we have our top 5 plays to end off our show. Let's get it. Sports Paws starts right now.
Welcome to Sports Paws. I'm Shannen Tierney, and I'm very excited to be hosting for the first time alongside Dacey.
Well, the women's ice hockey team started its quest for a ECAC crown this past weekend with a first-round matchup with Clarkson. Let's take a look at Game 1 in the best-of-3 series. At Clarkson, like I said, Game 1, we're going to start off in the first period. In a minute, only a minute in, and it is Emma Keenan who's going to get the outside shot past the goalie. Clarkson will take a 1-0 lead. Now still in the first period with Quinnipiac down 1-0 still, the goalie Cassidy Suave is a brick wall in net, stopping all sorts of shots, and same in the second period. It's Kenzie Lancaster this time with a nice look, but nothing there. And Clarkson's going to turn defense into the offense, going all the way down the ice, and it's Lauren Gable who's going to finish this one right in front of the net. And then Quinnipiac, desperation time in the third period, empty net, but an errant pass is going to prove costly with this one going all the way into the empty net. 3-0 Clarkson, and they're going to go on to win Game 1, take a 1-0 series lead.
It's Game 2 now, so it's win or go home for Quinnipiac. The game's tied at 1-1 with under 2 minutes left in the first. Clarkson is on the power play, and Elizabeth Gigier finds Josiane Pozabon with a slap shot right into the upper corner to go up 2-1 going into the second period now. Early on, QU is on the power play, and Randy Marcone slides it right into the net, tying the game at 2. Great momentum for the Bobcats. Now Melissa Skamiskevich takes it all the way down the ice and makes it. Great for Quinnipiac, up 3-2 now. Just seconds left in the third period. Things are looking good. Let's hear the call.
Peter wraps it out front. Shigeru dropped it off to Gable. Score! Lauren Gable with 1.1 to go. And the bench is going nuts as Clarkson.
Overtime now after they score with 1 second left. Quinnipiac desperately needs a goal here to keep their season alive, but no! Gigier from Clarkson gets it into the net, ending the game for Quinnipiac, ending the playoffs for Quinnipiac and the season for the ice hockey team.
Now, after that heartbreaking loss for the women's ice hockey team, let's look at the rest of the ECA tournament with the final 4 teams. It's seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cornell takes on Princeton, and it'll be Colgate taking on Clarkson. Now let's bring in our in-house women's ice hockey expert, Ryan Flaherty. Ryan, how you doing?
Great to be here with you, Chris.
So start off, what went wrong for Quinnipiac this weekend? Why couldn't they get past Clarkson?
Well, it's easy to look at this weekend and pick out the negatives, but I think this weekend was less about what went wrong for Quinnipiac and more about what went right for Clarkson. Clarkson is defending national champion on their home ice with absolutely the best line in women's college hockey. The momentum was already in favor of Clarkson, and then Quinnipiac allowed a goal in the first minute of the series, and all of a sudden they had a mountain to climb to get back in the game and the series. At the end of the day, I thought overall Quinnipiac played pretty well on the weekend, but over a 3-game series, the better team and the more experienced team is going to win, and that's what happened.
Yeah, Quinnipiac were definitely the underdogs there, Ryan. What was your biggest takeaway from the playoffs, would you say?
Well, Shannon, my biggest takeaway from the weekend is that this team has the capability of competing with anyone in ECAC hockey. Clarkson has been one of the most successful teams in women's college hockey over the past few seasons, and it has a lot to do with their speed and skill. It looks like we've seen Quinnipiac start to adapt to that style of play, and it's working. In their last 7 games of the regular season, they went 4-1-2, And in those games, they averaged just under 3 goals a game and 33 shots on goal. In the 25 games prior to that stretch, they won 8, 14, and 3, averaging under 2 goals per game and only getting 26 shots on net. So I think the biggest takeaway from this weekend and for me is the change of system, which can be key to their future success.
So we just saw how their season ending pretty heartbreaking. The goal with 1 second left in the third period and then losing in overtime. So what are the steps that this team needs to take to move on from next year, losing seniors like Sam Oskevich? What do they need to take? What do they need to do for next year?
Well, it's certainly not going to be easy. They're going to lose 42% of their scoring from this season, and more than the points, they're losing an entire leadership group, including Sam Oskevich, Mark Hahn, and Lancaster, who were the captains of this team, and as you just heard, only goal scorers on the weekend. So to answer your question, they're going to need young players like Lexi Agia and Taylor House, who are 4th and 5th in points this season, to step up, not only on the ice, but off the ice as well. Along with their young players, they need talent to continue to recruit and bring in another strong freshman class that's ready to win right now.
Yep, they definitely need wins, but what needs to happen for this team to win an ECAC championship?
I think it has a lot to do with 2 things I just touched on. First, I think it's really important for this team to commit to a faster and more skill-based system because that's where ECAC hockey seems to be heading, and it's proven to work for this team and its players. Secondly, I think the young players on this team need to step up on and off the ice. We hear so much about the culture and identity of Quinnipiac hockey, and if they're going to move forward with a new system, I think it's equally important for this team to build a culture where the young players, where it's not okay to be the 6th best team in ECAC hockey with a first-round exit in the playoffs. I said before, I think this team can compete with anyone in ECAC hockey, and if those 2 things happen, I think they will.
Ryan, thank you for your analysis and great job covering this team all season.
As the women's ice hockey team seasons come to a close, the men's hockey team look to win the Cleary Cup as ECAC hockey champions with a big weekend. First up, a rematch against the Brown Bears, who beat Quinnipiac 4-1 in Hamden just 3 weeks ago. This time, the Bobcats got revenge over the Bears with a 4-1 win. Nick Germain had a goal and an assist, and Oni Tufto scored his 15th goal of the year as Andrew Shortridge stopped 16 of 17 shots en route to the win. With more on Friday night's win over Brown, we turn it over to men's hockey beat reporter MJ Bard. Take it away, MJ.
The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team came to Providence tonight needing either a win of its own or some help from the rest of the teams in the conference in order to lock up a first-round bye in the conference playoffs. Well, Princeton beat Yale tonight, meaning Quinnipiac was guaranteed a top 4 seed, but the Bobcats took it upon themselves to take care of business as well, beating the Brown Bears by a final score of 4-1. And although games are 60 minutes, Quinnipiac needed only the first period to make its mark.
First 20 was excellent. You know, the compete level, the buy-in. You know, guys were just committed, and you know, we played to our identity, and would have been nice to do it for 60, but you know, we were okay in the second and third, but we got that nice little lead, and you know, we obviously finished our chances. We got the 3 goals, and you know, I think tonight we were much better defensively. You know, we only gave them 10 shots through 2 periods, and then you know, they had a little push at the end, but it was a good effort.
For one Bobcat, Friday night was a homecoming. Freshman Mike Lombardi is a Barrington, Rhode Island native and was back at the place where it all began.
Yeah, so I started skating here when I was like 4 or 5 years old. My dad took me to learn to skate, and then I played for the Providence Junior Bears. So growing up here, me and my family, we spent countless hours here. So it's special to be here and to kind of experience this. I went away at 15, so I didn't really get to play at home too often. You know, see all my family and friends here. It's kind of special. So it's tough to put into words.
After tonight, Quinnipiac sits at 2nd in the conference standings and plays arch-rival Yale tomorrow night in New Haven. Cornell, the conference leader, controls its own destiny, but a loss or a tie from the Big Red tomorrow would leave the door open for the Bobcats to win the conference regular season title. All Quinnipiac would need to do is beat Yale. Reporting from Providence tonight, I'm MJ Baird, Q30 Sports.
If you were one of the few who got a ticket to the Yale Quinnipiac at home, well, the Bobcats gave you a pretty good show if you are a Quinnipiac fan. Quinnipiac played Yale once again on Saturday. Let's roll the highlights. This time it was in New Haven in Ingalls Arena, rematch renewed, and we'll take action here to the first period. Yale's going to lose possession, and Quinnipiac will take advantage of that. It's Ethan DeYoung who's going to open up the scoring in this game. Quinnipiac up 1-0. Nice celly there, up against the boards. And now we're going on to the second period. And you're going to see it's going to rebound off the boards, and Nick Germain's just going to Hit it right off the Yale goalie and into the net. Quinnipiac take a 2-0 lead, right next to the rowdy Yale crowd right there. And what is a Quinnipiac-Yale game without it getting a little bit chippy? And this game, no exception. You're going to see the captain, Chase Prisky, get a little bit too aggressive there. He looks like he did kick a Yale player in the chest with his skate, and he will pay the price for that. He's going to be ejected from this one. And you're going to see the emotion from the captain as he makes his way off the ice, break the stick, going to need a new one there. But later on, Peter Dillabatore is going to get this long pass to Nick Germain again, and he's going to make it 3-0. As we see, great pass, stays on sides, Nick Germain does the rest. Third period, this Yale-Quinnipiac rivalry showing its head once again, and this time, off the shot, it's going to be Andrew Shortridge who's going to take the force of this one as he gets knocked in the head, and Luke Shiplow is going to take exception to this one, and there's a scrum that's going to break out. Punches are thrown, almost looking like an NHL game out there. Shiplow and some Yale players will be ejected, but Quinnipiac will go on to win this one 4-0. And as they are coming off the ice, I found out that they are Cleary Cup co-champions with Cornell, and they celebrate accordingly on Yale's ice to add insult to injury for Yale. And Judy Olian was in attendance, celebrity appearance almost there. And you're going to see a elated men's ice hockey team come off the ice here at Yale. Now let's look at the first round matchups for the ECAC men's ice hockey playoffs. And it's going to be Dartmouth versus St. Lawrence, Union versus Colgate. Yale is going to take on RPI, and Brown will play Princeton. Quinnipiac got the #1 seed, and Cornell and Clarkson and Harvard all got byes.
Now let's take a look at the pairwise rankings. St. Cloud and UMass are tied for the top spot, followed by Minnesota Duluth and Minnesota State. And Quinnipiac has moved up a spot from 6 to 5.
Time for a break, but when we come back, it's time to talk some basketball, and it's MAAC tournament time.
And it was senior day up in the People's United Center for the men's basketball team. Were they able to bring home a win for their last home game? We will be right back.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. We're going to take you from the ice to the hardwood as the men's basketball team fought for seeding the upcoming MAAC tournament. Baker Dunleavy's squad started off the weekend at St. Peter's on Friday night. The Bobcats dominated the Peacocks, winning 77-60. Cam Young was his normal self, putting up 26 points, while Jacob Rigoni added 17 as Quinnipiac improved their record to 11 and 6 in the MAAC.
In a season where the Bobcats saw themselves on the top of the MAAC for the first time in a while, Quinnipiac took some time to honor the seniors who have been through the ups and downs throughout their careers. Abdoulaye Bundu, Andrew and Aaron Robinson, and Cam Young were recognized before the game on Sunday. The group has seen 2 different head coaches and also turned around a program that is known to finish towards the bottom of the MAAC, and they're in the top of the MAAC this year. Now let's look at the game against Manhattan. So like I said, senior day on Sunday, an emotional day for many of the seniors, as you see Aaron Robinson holding back some tears as they're being honored, but will take action up in the second half. And it's Rich Kelly who's going to hit a deep 3, bring his team within 1, but Manhattan's going to respond right away inside for the quick and easy 2. Manhattan going to come right back with a contested 3 knockdown. And then Marfo said he's had enough of all this scoring from Manhattan. He swats that one out of bounds, but Manhattan's going to come right back with yet another tray. Tough defensive night. Rich Kelly doing as much as he can to keep his team in, and another deep 3. But Manhattan was just too much. Another 3. Cam Young also slashing to the rim, doing his part. He's going to get fouled, and here's his foul shot. He's going to make that, keep his team within close, but it's just a little bit too late for the Bobcats. Desperation time, you're going to see Rich Kelly get blocked there, and Manhattan's going to go on to win this one by a score of 62-58.
The 2018-2019 men's basketball All-MAAC teams were just announced. Quinnipiac's Cam Young was a unanimous choice for All-MAAC first team after leading the MAAC in scoring this season. Rich Kelly of the Bobcats was chosen for the second team, and Tyrese Williams made the All-Rookie team.
Well, now that we know what the bracket looks like, now that the regular season is over, let's break it down a little bit further, and I got my man Bryan Schwartz to help me out. Bryan, you ready?
I'm so excited, Chris.
Playoff time. So now let's look at the bracket.
You got to swipe.
There it is. So bracket we're looking here, we have Quinnipiac got a first round bye right here, and then you have first matchup. The first matchups are Marist, St. Peter's, Ryder, Siena, Manhattan, Fairfield, and Monmouth, Niagara. Which one do you want to talk about first a little bit?
Let's start off with that Marist St. Peter's game. These are 2 of the worst teams in the conference. I don't want to be mean, but these are 2 of the worst teams in the conference. Look, St. Peter's is really bad. They have a new coach, a whole new system in place, a lot of young players. I don't see them advancing. I think that Marist is going to take that first game right there. We saw what Marist could do. They beat Quinnipiac earlier this year.
Marist does have the former St. Peter's coach. That's kind of an interesting matchup right there. So what's the next first-round matchup we want to talk about?
Next one is Manhattan and Fairfield, and this one, I kind of made my decision on who's going to win this game after yesterday, on Sunday, when Manhattan beat Quinnipiac. Look, this Manhattan team has a lot of really good players. They're very young, they're long, and a team like Fairfield has not played well at all this year, so I see Manhattan moving on right there.
It's been a struggle for Fairfield this year. They lost their lead scorer, and Manhattan's very scrappy team. So we want to. So we're going to talk about Monmouth, Niagara, the team that's going to play Quinnipiac. Who do you got going? Who you got winning that one?
Look, again, Niagara is a team that has really struggled this year. They've gotten some good wins, but Monmouth is also a team that was 0-12 to start the year, and they got hot right when the MAAC season started. So I got Monmouth moving on right here to play Quinnipiac.
Monmouth, the definition of it's not how you start, it's how you finish. They always have a very tough out-of-conference schedule, but when it comes to MAAC, they're pretty solid. So what's the next game we want to talk about? Oh, you already, all right, so jumped the gun a little bit.
I mean, I jumped the gun because it's an obvious one. Look, Iona is the #1 seed. They're by far the best team in the conference. We know how crazy the MAAC could be. If they lost, would we be surprised? No. But I think against a team like Marist only advanced because they're playing St.
You don't bet against Tim Cluse and Iona in March. So what's the next game we're going to talk about?
Manhattan and Canisius. This one could go either way for me. I went with the upset here because, look, it's the MAAC tournament. Anything can happen. Anything does happen. It happens all the time. Oh, well, we were going to skip that one. So there's Manhattan. Manhattan, I have beating Canisius. Look, Canisius could win this entire tournament, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I like what I saw from Manhattan yesterday. I'm really riding on those Jaspers. Steve Masiello knows how to win. He's won it before, so I'm going to go with Manhattan. On this side, Siena is my dark horse pick here. Ryder is a good team. They were ranked at the top of the conference come the start of the season. But look, this guy Jalen Pickett, the freshman for Siena, he might play in the NBA next year, Chris. He is really good.
You're very high on him.
He's a very good point guard. If he doesn't go to the draft, he might transfer out of Siena and get into a Power 5 school. So he's going to lead Siena over Ryder in that second round matchup for them.
Going back to this game, I think Quinnipiac would love to see Manhattan win because Canisius gave them problems the 2 times they played this year, and obviously Siena with Pickett, they're a very good team, and they'll be playing realistically on their home floor.
Exactly.
So what do you got in the Quinnipiac-Monmouth game?
Quinnipiac-Monmouth, I see Quinnipiac winning this game. I think Quinnipiac is the better team. And you know what? Again, it's one of those games where would I be surprised if Monmouth won? No, King Rice has not really won in the MAAC tournament in Albany. It's been a struggle for Monmouth come playoff time. So will that continue? We don't know. But Quinnipiac is going to be rested here. They have the first round bye, so look for them to beat Manhattan.
Quinnipiac also 2-0 against Monmouth in the regular season, looking to keep that rolling. So who do you got playing? So now we have the semifinals. Who do you have in the first championship slot?
Iona and Siena. This one is going to be a fantastic game. It's on Siena's home court at the Times Union Center, so that is where I'm going to give them the edge, and I'm going to put Siena in the MAAC championship over Iona. A #1 seed does not win the MAAC tournament, Chris. We've seen it year in and year out the past couple of years. #1 seeds don't advance very far.
But that #1 seed is Iona.
Correct.
You just said we don't bet against Tim Cluse in March.
It's tough to bet against him, but look, this Siena team has a lot going for them. They were picked to come in last earlier at the beginning of the season in this MAAC, but you never know what's going to happen. And a guy like Jalen Pickett, when he gets hot, there's not much to stop it.
All right, second semifinal game. Who you got?
Manhattan and Quinnipiac. I love Manhattan. You've seen that I picked them twice in a row. Look, it's going to be really tough to win 3 games for Manhattan, a team that they don't have as much depth as a team like Quinnipiac will. At this point, Quinnipiac will be much more well-rested as well. So I have Quinnipiac going to the championship against Siena.
All right, now championship game. You know, if this is the championship game, it's going. You're going to see this is the Times Union Center in the background. It's going to be all yellow because of Siena fans. They love to pack that place. That's why they play in that big arena. So who do you have winning the MAAC championship?
Here's my thing. It's because it's at the Times Union Center. If Siena is in the MAAC championship, this arena is going to be nuts. And Quinnipiac is going to have just played 2 straight days, 2 straight games. Siena will too. But Siena's going to have that crowd behind them. It's going to be really tough. Quinnipiac also is such a streaky team shooting-wise, and that's the only way that they're going to win, is if they really shoot the 3-ball well. The odds that they do that 3 straight games are very low. I like Quinnipiac in this tournament. I think that they have a good shot, but I have the Siena Saints going to the tournament.
Well, there you have it. Siena Saints. It's Bryan Schwartz. Shannon?
Well, the men's tournament bracket was up in the air until the last minute. There was never a doubt as to who would be at the top of the women's bracket. Having already wrapped up their 5th straight regular season title, the Bobcats took a victory lap this weekend starting on Thursday versus Manhattan. Quinnipiac beat Manhattan 59-42 Thursday night to keep their winning streak alive. Brittany Martin put up 20 points for the Bobcats, a career high for the senior. Senior Jen Fay also contributed 10 points to the win. For more on the Bobcats' win over the Jaspers, here's Emma Carmen and Katie O'Keefe.
Another day, another win. You know what sport it is. It's the Quinnipiac women's basketball team. Quinnipiac hosted Manhattan in their last regular season home game and defeated them 59-42. I'm Katie O'Keefe alongside Emma Carmen. Welcome to the rebound. So Emma, Brittany Martin had an outstanding game today. You've seen her transform over the years. How would you describe that transformation?
Well, Katie, over the past couple of years, Brittany has really just transformed her game. In tonight's game against Manhattan, she had a career-high 20 points. And we spoke with her after, and she really just said that she excelled from the bench. She really gave out all that she could tonight. And not only did this add some energy on the sidelines, but it really put a great spark in tonight's game. And Katie, not only does this team have some great records, great record holders, but what is the key component that they have that makes them stand out from all these other teams in the MAAC?
Their major key is confidence. And that's easy and simple, and you can see it when you come to games and you hear it in their stats. We just came from the press conference talking to Coach Fabry, and she says it too. Have a listen to what she says.
I know what we do defensively and how they know the system, and then the confidence in communicating to each other, and the trust that is built through those years of doing that is just second to none. And we've got a lot of really good players on our team that are capable of really catching fire and going on an individual run that makes everybody else feel at ease.
Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's Rebound. Quinnipiac women's basketball is headed to Siena this Saturday for their last regular season game. Be sure to follow Q30 Sports as they are headed up to Albany, New York for the MAAC tournament next weekend.
It was business as usual for the next game for the Bobcats, as they were 9 points away from doubling Siena's point total. 603 people who came to see the game in Loudonville, New York, witnessed Quinnipiac shoot just above 38% from the floor. Siena shot 24% in comparison. Jen Fay led all scorers with a grand total of 24 points, while shooting 77% from the floor.
The women's basketball All-MAAC team featured a few Bobcats. Erin McClure made the All-MAAC first team, and Quinnipiac's Jen Fay and Paula Strada-Main made the second team.
Now let's see what the road ahead looks like for the Bobcats in this upcoming weekend in Albany. So first round matchups, you're going to see Manhattan St. Peter's, Siena Iona, and then Niagara Fairfield, and then the bye. The first 5 teams get the bye, and that's Quinnipiac, Ryder, Marist, Monmouth, and Canisius. And then here are the next round matchups.
Or not. Time for another break. Coming up, we'll see if the men's lacrosse team were able to break out of their 3-game losing streak.
And top 5 players are almost here. Stay with us.
Thanks for sticking with Sports Paws. The women's indoor track and field team headed up to Boston this weekend for the ECAC championship. The 4x800 relay team broke a school record twice in 2 days. The team ran a record-breaking 8:57 on the first day, then ran an 8:56 on the second day to break the record they set just the day before.
After the Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team started 0-3, all that changed after the trip down to NJIT. The Bobcats squeaked out the 16-14 win over the Highlanders. Sophomore Jake Tomsick tied the program record for most goals scored with 8. That's impressive, but NJIT's Aaron Forster matched him with 9 goals. The Quinnipiac women's lacrosse team hosted Wagner on Saturday, but the home field was a little bit different. That is because the game took place at Wesleyan University. Well, the change of scenery didn't bother Wagner because it took care of business, beating Quinnipiac convincingly by a score of 17-5. Wagner's Aaron Kerr Stetter led all scorers with 4 goals.
Despite only scoring once against Wagner, Allison Kuhn remains on a torrid goal-scoring pace, as she has 18 through just 6 games this season. She's well on track to surpass her career high of 35 goals, which she set last year.
In a story published by HQ Press, it said the Quinnipiac soccer and lacrosse field will be replacing its cork crumb fill with rubber infill. The cork takes in water and freezes, making the turf hard and slippery for play. It was approved by the town of Hampden with 3 conditions. The conditions include the approval of the cleaning method of the rubber and the university. For the university, the cost of the school is estimated to be around $135,000. Well, now it's time for top 5 players of the week. Shannon, I'll take the odds. You can take the evens. Number 5 will start on the ice with women's ice hockey. Clarkson's going to turn the puck over, and Melissa Samoskevich will do the rest. Easy finish there.
And we'll take it to men's ice hockey at Yale. A nice stretch pass from Peter Delaboratory, and he finds Nick Germain and makes a nice move to be the defender to get the goal.
Number 3, we're going back to Jersey City, and this is Tyrese Williams to Rigoni to Cam Young. Pump fake in the lane, slam. Easy 2 for Cam Young.
And we'll take it back to men's ice hockey. This is the pass, and this is Nick Germain with the goal.
And the top play of the week, women's ice hockey again. Lauren Gamble with 1 second left, breaking Quinnipiac's heart. Clarkson will go on to win in overtime. Sad way to end the season for women's ice hockey. And that is our show today. Come back, same place, same time in 2 weeks.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports and check out our website, q30tv.com. For Chris Dacey, I'm Shannen Tierney. Have a great night and a great spring break.